Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 10th episode of Conversations with T. This is T speaking, and today's guest is a wellness coach from Nigeria. She's been very active in the self-care field, and she she educates people how to practice it properly. She's also quite knowledgeable about skincare, and I'm super excited to have her in today's episode. How have you been, Balqis?
Hi guys, I'm fine. I've been good. Today is a Sunday, so I'm just going to be sleeping all day today. That's what I do on Sundays. I try not to have any engagements on Sundays.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's around 10. Is it 10:15 in Nigeria where you're at?
Yes, it's 10:15 in
Oh,
the
okay.
morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for today's episode, I wanted to start off by talking about some of the myths that have been uh, associated with self-care. I feel
Mm-hmm.
I feel as though self-care is one of those topics that has been very misunderstood by a lot of people. And with that said, could you
Yeah.
give examples of what is self-care versus what isn't with the audience and myself, please?
Okay. Yes. So I think self-care is pretty easy. So self-care, you can define self-care with the word itself, like taking care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the myths started because like recently, people just started recently to not glorify burnout.
Mm-hmm.
That's why people misunderstood self-care as, oh, it has to be just you going on spa dates, doing your skincare, or going on vacation. Like people just thought that self-care was all about rest. But then, yes, rest is part of what you do for yourself. But then there are other aspects of yourself. There is your physical health, there's your emotional health, there's your financial health. Because honestly, if you don't pay attention to your financial health, it's going to creep into all of that aspect of your life. So
Mm-hmm.
that's just it. Like even setting boundaries for yourself. Like I need to stop buying on impulse. I need to stop doing this because it just gets me off track. It is self-care also. Like calling yourself to be accountable.
Mm. Yeah, and I agree with you that it's like people nowadays they focus, I think, too much on the physical aspects of self.
Yeah, on the leisure part, going on holiday and all of that.
Yeah.
Because some people go on holiday and they still carry their work laptop along and they still do not have healthy boundaries. And then there's no point. If all you're doing is the physical, like you don't have peace of mind and all
Yeah,
of that.
exactly.
If
Exactly.
you keep following that, you have to like, if you practice real self-care, where you are paying attention to every aspect of your life, you are being intentional with maybe your financial goals, the relationship you have with your family, relationship you have with yourself. In your everyday life, you'll be happy. You wouldn't need to wait till summer to have an escape to your holiday destination or stuff like that. So self-care is something that we're supposed to, when you're doing properly, it creeps into the everyday life that you have. So you don't need to always look for an escape. Everybody needs sometimes you need long breaks, but then you shouldn't always be trying to escape from your regular life. That's not healthy and it's not sustainable.
Hmm. From a mental health perspective, I could say that a person has to be, when it comes to self-care, they have to be very careful with the thoughts that they allow in their mind, because if they always keep reinforcing these negative and unhealthy thoughts about themselves or other people, it's not good for them. They're going to end up making their mental environment a very chaotic one, and this is the opposite of the the opposite of practicing self-care. If, on the other hand, they start uh, reinforcing positive and constructive thoughts about themselves, and they keep disciplining themselves to be the best version of themselves and be more productive and whatnot, then this is obviously very good for them. They would end up with better focus, increased self-confidence, and
Yes, yes, yes.
they can even have better relationships
Yes.
with other people. Don't you think so?
Yes, it even translates to better productivity at work. And I like that you said constructive feedback for themselves, because when you say you guys just think positive, I found positive things, some people might tend to be delusional and say things that they are not doing or they are not up to. Like it's a different thing to be hopeful and to be intentional. It's a different thing to, deceive yourself. So if you want to move from point A to maybe point Z or point F, you should take the steps or make the progress or invest in the goals that will take you to that point. You just can't keep claiming that you're something that you're not, that you've not worked towards, or you're not trying to get help with. So yeah, definitely it's good to be intentional about your mental space. Go where you're needed, try to foster healthy relationships, and you also make sure when you're in somebody's pace, you are doing it in a healthy manner.
And another mistake I see people make is that they equate self-care with instant gratification, right?
Yes. They're
Yeah,
like, go have a cup of ice cream. That's self-care, really. If you're like, let's say you're burnt out from work and you're having ice cream, you probably wouldn't even feel the taste of that ice cream, to be honest. Because self-care is a state of mind. It's physical self-care can only withhold you for so long, because if you're burnt out, you have lack of sleep, you don't have healthy boundaries with yourself, you don't have healthy boundaries with your family members, you are not going to, like, you just be doing things in passing. You won't really feel it. You won't be into it. That's why I feel like you don't have to afford a holiday vacation before you actually practice self-care. Just live a healthy life. If you don't like to receive calls beyond 10 p.m. at night, let everybody know. Try to design your life in a way that you're not constantly trying to escape from it. That way, you're genuinely fine. And if you want to afford luxury self-care, there's nothing bad in it, but then abandoning your emotional wellness and your mental wellness and going for the physical isn't sustainable, and it's a big disservice.
Yeah, it's actually unfortunate how people they use self-care as like an excuse to run away
An
from
escape
reality.
route.
Yeah.
Yes.
The-
It's not sustainable. It's not it.
it's like self-care became a distraction for them, don't you think so?
Yes, I think this happened because prior to now, most people glorify burnouts when you're working. You like work, burn the midnight candle, work till late nights, get only 4 hours of sleep. People that get 8 hours of sleep, they're lazy people. So when people started hearing about self-care, take care of it, so their opinion was, okay, I need to just steal time away and just escape. I think that was why when self-care started making the waves on social media, people thought it was just like an escape plan, an escape route. But then it's really not. Self-care also talks about how you engage in the workplace, how you prioritize your time, your to-do list. If you keep making everybody at the work know that you're available after office hours, you're always going to be the go-to after office hours. It's never going to stop. And then quality over quantity. You can spend 6 hours out of your 8 hours to work per day and actually do quality work rather than just doing work till late night. And like I feel like to-do list helps. But the problem is some people have to-do lists, and when they strike out one that they've done, they add another thing to the to-do list. It's going to be very chaotic. So listing what is important, listing what is urgent. So you could attend to the urgent things first and maybe postpone the important things. That way you take time off your screen when you want to take time off your screen. You take your breaks when you're supposed to take your breaks, and you just log off when you are closed for the day.
I feel as though I feel as though to-do lists, yes, they're a very good way of organizing your thoughts and whatnot, but I feel as
Yes.
though the more things you have on your list, the less quality focus you would dedicate to each task, if that makes sense.
Yes, I understand. Because like actually in self-care on my page, I usually talk about like not everything would work for you.
Yeah.
Some people plan better with mind mapping. They're like, okay, when I'm done with this, then I can have my brain can be clear for this. Me personally, when I do my to-do list, I rank it. There are the urgent things that I need, like other things that will affect the business that they need in my 9 to 5. I attend to them first.
Yeah.
Maybe start them before my lunch, and then the things that are important but not urgent, I do them as the last thing that I have to do for the day. Then the next day I pick it up. But so for some people, like you said, that to-do list might create anxiety, like I'm not doing enough, I'm not doing this. So they can maybe mind map or just say, let me do one thing first. When I'm done, I'll check what other thing I have to do. So it really depends. It's relative. It depends on how you function as a human being.
Yeah, I agree. And and I would also like to add that it's important for people to know how to prioritize, because if they mix,
Yes.
so they may have certain activities which are more important than others.
The others, yes.
If they keep mixing everything up, then they're going to end up becoming very stressed, and they're going
Yeah,
to
it's going to be chaotic.
yeah, it's going to be a disaster.
Definitely.
And coming back to the point about instant gratification, don't you think? I feel as though not everything that quote unquote feels good is in reality good for someone. And
Definitely.
I think, like you mentioned earlier, a person, similar to what you said earlier, a person may, for example, smoke shisha when they're feeling stressed or bored because they enjoy doing it. However, there were studies that showed that shisha is actually dangerous for our health, and
For the health.
it can lead to serious consequences in the long run, such as
Definitely.
heart disease and cancer. And
Terrible.
with that said, how can shisha be a form of self-care if we're harming ourselves in the process, right?
Yes, yes. I think we both mentioned it in the beginning of this conversation, but I mentioned something about setting boundaries for yourself.
Yeah.
Problem is, if you see self-care as an escape, when you are trying to escape from something, sometimes you make illogical decisions. You just do things without reasoning. It's bound to happen. Now, setting boundaries for yourself means that there's some things that we do, like we are flawed, that everybody's flawed. And there's some things that you're indulging that is actually not good for you. So you
Mm.
have to set that boundary. I'm stressed. What other stress or relief can I engage in that isn't going to affect my health negatively? Because in the end, like you said, research has shown that shisha is really dangerous to the health. And then at the end of the day, you still have to now deal with the health issues. That means you didn't even escape. You just went into deeper trouble because you could not set boundaries for yourself. You could not explore other options.
I actually really liked how you stressed the importance of setting boundaries for yourself, because
Definitely.
I think a lot of people focus on setting boundaries with other
For
people.
others.
But not with themselves, which is interesting.
It
And
is. It's necessary.
could you give us other examples of setting boundaries for ourselves?
Yes. For example, I'm a very communal person. I like pulling up for my friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized that most times I'm always tired and burnt out, and I usually do not know why. And aside from that, I start feeling some kind of resentment. Resentment because anytime my friends or family have problems, I would want to solve the problem. Like, literally go out of my way. I always say I'm available anytime. Even when I'm tired and my world is crumbling down, I will be like, I have to help because I love this person. Then I feel resentment when I probably have a problem. And maybe I've not even told my friends and family that, oh, I have a problem. They're not as sensitive as me. They wouldn't notice and come and ask. I wouldn't ask for help. Even when they ask for help and they don't have the capacity, maybe the emotional capacity or financial capacity to help me, I'll be feeling, oh, but if it was me, I'd have gone out of my way, I'd have gone above and beyond to help out. So the boundary I had to set then there was that when I don't have the capacity, I just rest. I won't always be able to save everybody. Because if I start doing things and then I do something 4 months down the line, I'm resentful, I don't talk to a friend for a week or two, it just ruins the friendship. Because then we always have these unnecessary breaks. And then when you now get maybe 2 years after, and you're trying to figure out to different that, okay, what did we do wrong? What went wrong? Nobody will be able to remember what happened. Resentment came in, communication was destroyed, and then you won't be able to figure out what really happened. So it's just those little things, day by day things. Okay, you guys, by 10 p.m. I sleep by 10 p.m. I can't receive calls. If you need to hop on a video call, let's try it before 10 p.m. I'm a Muslim, so I pray after Isha. I pray Isha by 8 my time at night. So I try to catch up to everybody before 10. So I sleep by 10. If I'm awake once in a while, I'm probably watching comedy videos or stuff. Yes. So I had to know that my time and then my capacity, if I can't help, I'll just say, I'm so sorry. Do you want to vent? You can vent to me. I'm here. I will listen to you. But I'm careful not to always want to provide a solution, because even at times when I can't provide a solution, I start feeling bad. And then I internalize the other person's pain, which isn't even good for me or the person, because that way I can't offer emotional support when I'm internalizing their pain. So that's one. Another thing is some people, like you said about physical health, some people overeat, like you said, maybe they are stressed at work, then they just take junk for like maybe a week non-stop. That's not healthy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's not healthy. It's not an escape. Like, it's going to fall. Like, you feel the ripple effect on your health, like maybe times 10, because then you start having issues, maybe heart issues, and fat and too much oil isn't good for the body. So the things that we think we are doing because it's good, and in the long run, they're actually bad for either your relational activities, how you talk to people, how you treat yourself. It's not good. Some people buy on impulse. Some people can't do without borrowing family members' money. My rule is if I can't let go of the money, I wouldn't borrow it out. It's a boundary. Somebody comes to borrow money today, you're like, oh, she's my cousin, let me give her the money. Which you could have just given her maybe quarter of the money and be like, don't worry, I give you this dash. And when they come next time, oh, I'm sorry, this is a bad time for me. I can't lend you money. Is there another way I can help? Do you need to work part-time? I can talk to people to you. Like, you can offer other options than putting yourself on the line every time. Basically, just exploring other options. Like, you can be there for people. You can enjoy yourself. Look for the ways you can relieve stress without actually harming yourself in the long run. I think the work there is to actually explore other options and see what best fits you. That's where the work is.
For me personally, I think one of the ways in which I set boundaries for myself, I have a really bad habit of overthinking. If something does not go the way that I want, I start panicking. I start thinking this and that. And yeah, I just go crazy in my mind. But
different scenarios.
Yeah. So what I do is that I stop, I pause, and I just stop. I just stop what I'm doing and I just try to process everything that I'm experiencing and I just give it some time. Like, I don't have to come up with a solution right away. Like, it's okay.
Right now, yes.
Yeah.
One step at a time.
It's okay to, give yourself some time, think things through, and even spend some time alone if you have to. And
yeah.
And it's fine to think things through. Yeah, that's what I do. And if not that, I journal. I watch something on YouTube and anything productive, and that's good for me.
Yeah, I think journaling really helps. But the funny thing is, the way journaling helps me is that, like you said, sometimes if you overthink, I just try to write things down to just put my thoughts together.
Yeah.
And then let's say sometimes I don't journal. I just feel like maybe my past 10 entries. And I'm like, actually, I've gone through something similar before. And at the end of the day, things still went well. So I'm like, okay, maybe I don't have the solution now. I have the solution later.
It's refreshing in a way, isn't it?
It is to just write things. And sometimes when you journal for some period of time, you can see patterns. If a friendship is going to suffer for something, you can see that, oh, I wrote this down when this was happening. I think I can prevent it this way. Or let's say I start to indulge myself too much. I can see where it starts, how it starts, and how I engage it. So journaling is kind of a form of like you're watching a movie about yourself. It's really great.
I know. That's actually a really great way to put it. And you want to know something? I was going through my old entries the other day and I came across one which I wrote in January. And yeah, after I was done reading it, I was surprised at myself. Like, I sounded so upset. And
yes.
And there was another entry which was, I think, last year. After reading it, I was like, no, wait, 2 years ago. Yeah, I wrote that entry 2 years ago. And after I was done reading that, I was like, what was I retarded or something? Like,
yes, it happens. You see your past thought process, where your mind was at some while ago, and then you will laugh it off and you'll be like, I've actually grown. I would react to something way differently now. That's the joy of journaling, to be honest. Some people think that when you journal, you already know what you want to write. You already have a plan. No, it's just like keeping records and just say what's on your mind, what you might want to do. And then it just really helps. It really helps when you're reflecting. It's like recording your life or something.
Even if you don't write about I don't know, your feelings, maybe you can write
everything
about how you want. Just reflecting on what happened and maybe
yes. I like that you said some people think journaling is a very serious thing, but no, just write out your day went, what is going through your mind. With time it will flow. Like, you don't have to think some people think journaling is this grand thing that you have to brainstorm. It's not. Just write how, like you said, how your day went. Maybe you're going through something, write it down. You don't have to write it down with the aim of finding a solution. Just write it down. But as you get used to it, you can say, okay, whenever I write something that when I'm upset, it was probably this that caused it. I tried this to calm myself down, or I think about it later. It just helps you see how you behave. for me, journaling helps me notice my patterns. So like I just try to reflect and be a better person.
Mm. And yeah, even though I do agree that journaling is a really great tool for practicing self-care, I mean there are other activities that you can engage in.
Yes,
You don't like writing as much, and that's okay. There's
definitely.
for example painting, drawing, or I don't know, like uh
Some people even go to the gym. Like
yeah, yeah,
when
yeah.
it's some people spend like 1 hour in the gym, like they are happy, they are pumped for the day. Like there's this, I don't understand it because to be honest, I'm quite lazy when it comes to physical activity. But some people are happy going for a jog, going for a run,
Yeah.
spending an hour at the gym. It gives them this joy. So like we said earlier, like noticing what works for you is nice. Some people might have clogged mind, like maybe they have a lot going on. And then when they exercise, that's like an outlet. And they come back home, they actually come back home with a clear head. And that's it for them.
Exercising and journaling, they're both like amazing for brain health. And I would actually
Yes.
yeah, I would actually advise anyone who's listening to this episode, like the next time you're feeling down, or you just want to uh like step back from your situation or whatever, just engage in something that's good for your brain. Trust me, it helps.
Yes, it does help.
Like the feel good chemicals get released, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you feel really good about yourself. It's like a win-win situation. You do something productive and
It
healthy, and
is.
you feel good,
Yeah,
right?
and another thing that I think that, yes, that would help is to know that negative emotions would always exist. Like you wouldn't really have, nobody can have it all. Like there will always be problems
Mm-hmm.
and challenges in our lives. The thing that functional self-care does is it just helps you, it gives you tools to better engage with. Like you said before, you used to overthink, and now you're like, I don't have to have all the solution at once. I'll take it one day at a time. That's not you forgetting about your problem. It's just you saying, okay, I don't have a solution now, and that's fine. I will try to figure it out one day at a time. So
Yeah,
sometimes something happens and it isn't really bad, but you're like, why is something bad happening to me? I must be unfortunate. I must be unlucky, this and that. Like, you are not feeling bad that you're experiencing a negative emotion. That's not it. There's always the good and bad in our lives. So I think people sometimes beat themselves up because they're facing challenges. We all face challenges. We all just might not post it. But then because when you're going through something terrible, you might not think to maybe share or make someone learn. Probably have overcome it maybe a year or 2 years after before sharing it. So I think that is also important. Sometimes we feel like we are the only ones that have problems and every other person is fine. We internalize the problem a lot. And that way we don't even find ways to, work and navigate the problem or solve it.
and you want to know something? Now that you mentioned that, I thought of something which a lot of people might not have heard, and I think a form of self-care is processing your negative emotions. Don't you think?
Yes,
To
yes.
actually
And you don't do
experience
it in a
them.
destructive way.
Yeah, yeah, to actually experience them and allowing yourself to process the negative feelings, the sadness, grief, anger, whatever, and then to cope in healthy ways, don't you think?
Definitely. The coping mechanisms have to be healthy so that you
Exactly.
don't end up harming yourself in the long run. Definitely.
Some people fall
Like
in, yeah, go on.
I'm saying that when you were talking about like how to handle grief and let yourself feel, some people do not want to cry.
Hmm.
Not everybody, yes, some people do not want to cry. And then they know they are grieving and they are not crying. That's outlet to come out in ways that they don't know in their relationship. They might get cranky, they might get all tempered,
Hmm.
and they wouldn't know that that's why they're acting all tempered. It's because they didn't like let it out.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it could show up in if you are blocking an emotion, like you said, where you're feeling one aspect of your life, it will show up in unhealthy ways in other aspects of your life, which nobody would understand. Like, what's happened to this person? But you wouldn't know that they've not let out some, they've not dealt with that stuff. They are trying to block out pain, and then maybe they just become overly sarcastic. Maybe maybe if someone loses a loved one, you are just too sad. Person doesn't want to cry, and then you're trying to say, "I'm fine, I'm good, whatever is fine." The person might just start engaging in unnecessary, unhealthy sarcasm to other people. Other people are like, "Why are you so insensitive? That's a terrible thing to say." But then telling yourself something happened to me, I didn't cry. Why should other people feel bad? That's not a good. That, like you said, that's not a healthy coping mechanism. It's going to hurt you in the long run.
And people, unfortunately, they fall into two extremes regarding
Yes.
right now. They either adopt toxic positivity. That's one extreme, and the other extreme is becoming overly negative, hating everyone, and always asking yourself, "Why me? Why me? Why me?" Right?
Yes. I think toxic positivity is totally avoiding, like, you see something in front of you that you should do it, and you just close your eye to it. It's not going to go away because you close your eyes. It's going to be standing right there in front of you, and it's still going to be affecting areas of your life. If you don't find a way to, like you said, engage with it and navigate through it, then the other extreme is just feeling like we are the most unfortunate person in the world. Like I said, sometimes because I think social media too adds a bit, because we feel like everybody's life is rosy. But then we think that this problem, I'm the only one that has problem in the whole world. Look at that person, they are doing fine, they're doing great. Why am I unlucky? Why is this happening? But I know that sometimes our challenges are different relative. People have different challenges thrown at them. But then the point is, everybody has challenges. Like, at times you may not be able to know which challenges is coming your way. So I think knowing that things will happen and you have to sit through it and let yourself be sad when you want to be sad. Just like you said, I think not being extreme, just trying to do everything in moderation, feeling it and trying to move on is really important.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Thank you so much, Balqis, for this lovely episode. It was really nice catching up with you. And
yeah, I'm happy I came on.
And I really hope you have a wonderful day and take care. Speak to you later.
You too. Yes, thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.